guys, so today I'm going to do a bit of a life hack one for those of you who don't know how to sew. So I'd noticed that one of my pillows had sort of a bit of a rip down it, and I thought, well, I might as well teach you guys how to do a simple stitch that won't fall apart as soon as you give up on it. So get the smallest needle you can. So this is silk, so you have to use very, very small needles, otherwise it just keeps ripping. If it's too small, you can get these things so you stick it through the hole, and then you put the thread on the other end of the thing. So sort of trying to do this on camera is awkward as hell. I've got Daisy trying to eat the other end of the thread. See, so that goes through there, and then what you do is you then pull the needle back through. There you go, threaded, easy peasy. Okay, so just let Daisy knock off the other end of the thread. I mean, you can use scissors, but I'm lazy, so I just use one of these things. Sort of cut that. There you go, Daisy's eating the thread. I don't know what it is with cats and thread. So what you want to try and do is sort of tie 2 knots right at the end, because one knot always seems to just come undone. Again, I'm not going to pretend to be a tailor or anyone particularly crafted in sewing. It's just, these are how you do sort of your at-home repairs. And if you do fancy the extra challenge, do involve your cats. Right, so see, you've got, I don't know if you can see that, it's got a double knot there. So get your tool back out, just to shorten the thread. I see Daisy's being very nosy this morning. Oh, what are you doing, honey? Right, so this one, it's only sort of a slight rip there. Okay, so sort of you always want to like go through the hole and up, so that the knotted end sort of sits on the other side, so it doesn't get tampered with, etc. Sorry, it's just Daisy again. She does have a few admirers, I'm not going to lie. Right, so put 1 stitch through, okay? Before you pull the needle back through, wrap the thread around it, okay? And pull up. And then what this will do is it creates something called a blanket stitch, which is particularly useful for edges. And it's basically just a little bit stronger than just, you know, sewing normally. So round we go and pull through. There we go. So I will show you on my second stitch, because the first one always looks hideously messy. Okay, yeah, hello Daisy. Probably can't see that too well, because I mean, it's good that you can't see it, because then it means it looks sort of semi-invisible, which is always a positive. So basically I'm just going to whiz through this, sort of stab, wrap and pull. That's an easy way to remember it. Again, sort of stab through, wrap it round, sort of secure it, because basically what the wrapping round does is it means that like one stitch sort of sits along the top as well as your other ones. But it's a bit easy to explain on the finished project. Again, I'm not, you know, a proper artist, especially with these ones, but it's literally just enough to stop all your stuff falling apart. And you know, sewing's always a handy skill to learn. It then makes you go into other projects, I don't know, crocheting, knitting, anything to keep you busy, really. So I was thinking, when people are just always scrolling on their phones, it can just be a bit depressing sometimes. Sort of just having like so much world news at the end of your fingertips is just a bit like this. Because you never turn on the news and go, oh, that's positive. Right, okay. So that's the first bit. Got a particularly tricky bit there. Are you helping, Daisy? Hmm? I know she's off camera, but she's literally like right next to me. And then what I'm going to do is, it doesn't look so aesthetically pleasing, but if you sort of go back on yourself, so sort of do the exact same pattern but going backwards, and sort of basically fill in the gaps. There we go. So what I've managed to do there is I've managed to actually break my thread, so that wasn't very clever. Because I'm doing it near the zipper. That's why. There's the real star of the show. Honestly, cats are obsessed with anything to do with sewing or knitting. Just, they're obsessed with it. I don't really know why, because it's not exciting. But it makes them happy, so it's quite cute. Okay, right. Sort of do the same again, sort of stab, wrap, pull. And sort of do that all the way back through to the other end. Stab, wrap, pull. Okay, so as I said, this is not done to be like, oh wow, this is so pretty. This is just so the average person knows how to do sort of a quick repair in under 10 minutes, you know. Okay, so that's sort of semi-done. I did do another project earlier, which might be a bit easier to see. So I sewed this up earlier. I'm going to focus, and you can sort of see the lines across the top where it's sort of being held in. Oh, there you go, it's focused a bit there. And sort of, I do just find that the blanket stitch is a lot stronger than just running stitch. That's what the other one's called. Because running stitch, it can just fall apart very, very quickly. Okay. So, and you know, this principle can be used on anything: pillowcases, towels, t-shirts. I don't know. There are other ones like cross stitch, etc. But I can teach you those. But depending on how this goes, you know, let me know. Okay, so that is me done. So what I'm going to do is sort of, when you're doing your last blanket stitch, so again the stab and the wrapping, wrap again. So you're doing 2 wraps on your last stitch, only the last one. Okay, and then you pull that through, sort of make sure you hold this bit just so it slides down properly for this one. Okay, see, that's all nice and taut now. What you want to try and do, just find a random hole, sort of go through it, because you want your stitch to hopefully finish on the inside of the project. So then it sort of has an even better chance of not falling apart. See, that's Daisy whacking the camera. So, and cool, there we go, all fixed. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed sort of the usual. If you like my videos, sort of drop a like, comment, follow, etc. I'm going to try and put this away without cats breaking everything, which is, it's nigh on impossible, you know. But yeah, see you next time. Right. Bye.